Well, and I know before we started talking on air, we kind of jokingly mentioned the Patriot Act. But it seems to me there's got to be something that could be done. I mean, this can't be a finalized, this is it, this is over, GM can do what they want when they're taking taxpayer money to keep themselves afloat. They're canceling jobs with American companies, canceling contracts with American companies. I find it difficult to believe that it's cheaper to buy palladium from South Africa and Russia than it is to get it right here in the US of A and send it over to Detroit. I find that tough to believe.
Well, see, first of all, that's the irony of the whole Democrat philosophy of they're holding up some trade practices because they say the countries we want to do business with, like Colombia, who really are making headway and trying to limit the amount of drugs that are coming out of the country and they're coming to America, and we're trying to help their economy, and they've kind of been friends to us. And then to turn around and say, okay, well, we're not going to have a trade practice with you because your labor standards are less than ours, your environmental standards are less than ours, and list a number of other things. And then turn right around and this administration says, well, it's okay for General Motors to cancel the contract and buy palladium from countries that don't have the same labor standards, don't have the same safety standards, don't have the same wages or environmental standards. And we know it. We can prove it. There was a South African mine disaster just a month ago in the palladium mine, 61 people killed, just last month. And we just don't have that kind of a situation. So, the hypocrisy of the administration and allowing this to occur, and I just don't get it. But therein lies the difference in philosophies.
Well, what could be done? I mean, obviously, we are a government by, of, and for the people. I know you're very active on Facebook. I see posts from you all the time, updates about where you're going to be, and a lot of people adding you as a friend on Facebook. What can people do? Can they contact you? Do they need to contact further up the chain? Do they need to flood Washington with emails, phone calls?
All of the above. And thank you for noticing the Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well, and I have a web page, email address, toll-free number. We try and communicate to the best of our ability. It's surprising how much influence you would have. While I may have 3,000 friends on Facebook, one friend may have 300, and some of those 300 may be in other congressional districts. That's actually working. We get Google alerts on the things we do, and I got a Google alert on me on somebody over in the state of Washington who's taken their congressman to task, who hasn't had any listening sessions on health care, and another one in Illinois got taken to task because she said she was too busy, her district was too large, she didn't have enough time. And I represent the second largest geography. It's 147,000 square miles, and I have the same month off as everyone else, and I'll probably have over 20 listening sessions. So, people get caught when they make statements, and the reason they do is we're in an international marketplace, and the internet gives us that opportunity. So use it and start applying pressure, and maybe we can turn this thing around with General Motors.
And again, Facebook.com. If you're not already a member, you can just look for Denny Rehberg on Facebook.
Yep. Okay. And like I say, I'm probably at around 3,300. That's pretty light compared to some.
We can look. I've got it up right now.
I did. I looked up Newt Gingrich the other day. He's at 650,000.
Wow.
Well, and it was interesting because we can do the math. Obama had 3 million friends before the election, and John McCain admitted he didn't know how to turn his computer on. So if we're going to communicate the way people are now, we have to move beyond the telephone, which is still important, to letters, which is still necessary, into the electronic age.
Sorry, I was still trying to.
You couldn't find it?
Well, I've got a lot of posts coming up. Apparently, a lot of info streams come my way. So I'll dig that up in just a little bit. But is there anything else going on? I mean, obviously, healthcare. We've got to talk to GM.
Energy. We need an energy policy in this country. We're kind of fickle. Our attention span sometimes gets kind of short. The big issue last August, which was huge, Nancy Pelosi adjourned the House. We Republicans stayed in a darkened chamber without mics, without cameras, and talked to the American public about the necessity to get a comprehensive energy policy. Why? Because the price of gasoline was over $4 a gallon. When the economy kind of went into the tank in September, the price of gasoline came down and the emotions cooled. We still need an energy policy. We better be prepared for it now, because we know we continue to become more dependent on foreign sources for our energy, and if we don't prepare now, we won't have the gasoline in the pipeline when we need it, and the prices go back up. So we need something that deals with oil, gas, coal, wind, solar, geothermal, biomass, conservation, nuclear, grants and loans to invent our way, and they're just not talking about it. What's their solution? They want to tax energy. It's called the cap and trade, which we refer to as cap and tax, because they want to tax oil, gas, and coal, thereby driving up the prices of our electricity and everything else we use from an energy standpoint, take the money and put it somewhere else. And we can't do that. We need a comprehensive energy policy, and we need it now. So hopefully we'll get back on that when we get back to Washington. We've got issues having to do with spending. We've got to try to slow things down. We cannot continue to spend as quickly as Washington seems to want to, building trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. So there's a lot of issues out there that need to be addressed.